Hello everybody and welcome to the student room and our second application surgery. It's great to have you here. Application surgeries are our live video series in which we're running here at the student room, all dedicated to helping you with your university application. So hello, my name is Grace. I'm a community manager here at the student room. You may know me better on site as Strawberry Dreams if you've seen me around the forum. So if you're a member here, welcome. If you aren't a member here and it's your first time, then again, welcome. It's lovely to have you on. We do hope you stick around. We've got lots of stuff here on the student room to really help and support you with your university application. So do take a look around. And also, if you have any general support questions, study help questions, anything really, we've got something for you here. So please do just keep an eye on what we've got on. And we've also got a newsletter for our year 12 and our year 13 students here. So if you're interested in that, to keep up to date with all the latest news about what's going on, then do check the first post of this thread, and there's some more information and a link where you can sign up for that newsletter. It'd be great to have you with us. So what we're going to do now is go straight into the next application surgery. So this is the second event in our series. Our first event, which was looking at if university is right for you with the University of East Anglia that happened last week, is available to watch back if you would like to at any time. Again, the link is in the first post there for you. However, for this session, we're going to be looking at how to make your university choices. So that includes researching universities, how to make the right decision for you on that course on the university that you want to go to, and how to create that short list of universities that you want to put into your UCAS application. So joining us today, we have Victoria Sutton from Nottingham Trent University. She's a schools liaison coordinator, and she's going to give us a talk about the best ways to start doing this and narrowing down your research. So Victoria, thank you so much for joining us today. Could you give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself and a little bit about what you're doing at Nottingham Trent?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. So yeah, I'm schools liaison coordinator, which in simple English means I go all over the country speaking to young people about how to enter higher education, if it's right for them, how to apply for finance, all the really fun stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just going to talk a little bit about today how to pick a university, how to do some research and pick a course and things like that.
Fantastic, thank you so much. So what we're going to do now is Victoria is going to go into a presentation for you for the next kind of 10 minutes, and then we'll start a Q&A with all the questions that you guys have already been putting into the thread for us and any live questions that come through. So now I'm just going to hand over to Victoria. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to show a few slides, and if there's any slides in here that you might find useful in the future, so if we've got any links or anything that you want to note down, do feel free to either take a screenshot or a picture, however you're accessing this, and that's absolutely fine to do. And what I'm going to do, as I say, I usually go all over the country chatting to students. So I've sort of thought about the top things that students ask me when it comes to making that decision. So I'm just going to talk about some of those key questions that I get asked a lot. And the first one is, how do I start researching universities? So obviously the start is a massive can be a daunting task when you actually see how many universities there are out there and how many courses there are. So I'm showing you that slide, not to scare you, not to put you off, but just to show how many opportunities are out there for you to research. So I understand why it can seem a massively daunting task to actually start narrowing down specific universities and specific courses. So the first thing I would say is think about your preferences, you as an individual. So there's no right or wrong preferences. This is all down to what you want to get out of your university experience. So I'd start thinking about the little things to start with. So are you going to move out of home? If you are you happy to move really far away, or would you like to be relatively close to your home? And when you go to university, can you drive? Are you going to be relying on your parents, or can you get public transport, that kind of thing? So just start by setting some parameters about the general things that are unique to you about universities. And you can also think about things like, do you want to be in a big city? Would you prefer to be by the seaside in a rural location? So if you can start getting those sort of preferences down, it's going to make narrowing down university choices a lot easier because you've already put some preferences in place. Then what I would suggest doing is going online and registering with either UCAS, Discover Uni, Unifrog. There are loads of different sort of search engines out there that are going to help you with that choice. And what these allow you to do is compare and contrast universities, search. So you could say, for example, right, I want to move no further than 50 miles from my house. So you can put your postcode in and it will show you all the universities that are within 50 miles of your house. So using these tools are really good way to start doing your research. And of course, you can make an account, you can save all your details, save your preferences and that kind of thing. So you can start creating some research into universities. When you are using, let's say it's UCAS, it's a really good place to compare different criteria that might be important to you. So before we spoke generally about location and kind of things like that, this is more specific to universities. So some of these things that are on the screen right now, they might not be important to you, but some of them might be. So you might want to look at, for example, has the university you're looking at won any awards or accreditations? What's the percentage of students that graduate that get employed within 6 months? Where does that university sit on league tables? These are all things that might be important to you, they might not be. But they're all things that you might want to take into account when doing your research, because it can form a basis of saying, actually, well, maybe that university is better for me because it has a placement year in it, whereas this university doesn't offer placement years. So having some sort of think about things that are important to you, again, is going to help you. And again, there's no right or wrong answers. If you don't really mind if a university has won any awards, if that's not important to you, then at least you'll know that and you won't need to search that on the sort of UCAS hub. Once you've started thinking about, okay, this university looks interesting, I'd like to know a little bit more about it. If you go onto their website, you can order a prospectus and they'll send it to your door absolutely free. And in a prospectus, you'll find loads more specific information to that university. So a lot more in-depth detail about things like their accommodation, the support available, that kind of thing. So I really recommend, if you find a university you like the look of, order a prospectus, and you can do a little bit more research by looking at that prospectus. So another question I get asked, this is probably the most popular question that I get asked, is how do I decide on a course? And then a lot of people end up saying, well, I don't know what I want to do as a career, so how could I possibly pick a course out of all those ones out there? So I would say to remember that the majority of courses are not training you for a specific job or a specific career. Not all of them are, some of them are. So if you want to be a dentist, you'll have to do dentistry. If you want to be a vet nurse, you have to do a vet nursing degree. However, most courses out there aren't actually training you for a specific career. So don't worry if you don't know what you want to do in the future. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I went to university. What I'd say is it's the experiences that you get from university. It's those transferable skills and the knowledge that you gain that you can then use to apply to jobs. So it's those skills that you gain which are going to make you employable. It's not necessarily the specific degree in some cases. So to just sort of hone in on that, I have a degree in drama and film. I have another colleague who does the exact same job as me, and she has a degree in English and French. And another colleague who does the same job as me has a degree in sports science. So we all have really different university backgrounds. We're all specialists in different areas, but what we have in common is that we have a degree. So when we saw this job advertised that I work at now, it just said that you need to have a degree. That meant that we could all apply for it, no matter what our degree was. So I'd say if you don't know what you want to do in the future, that's absolutely fine. Just pick a course that you're going to be really passionate about, that you're going to enjoy, and that you want to spend the next 3 or 4 years of your life becoming an expert in. So I often get asked, what do you do at an open day? So previously I said order some prospectuses because they're really helpful, and they are. However, you have to think about prospectuses are created by marketing experts. They show pictures of students living their best lives on a really sunny day. So you actually might want to see what a university is like in person. So nothing beats actually going to that university, walking around and speaking to staff members. So I really recommend going. If you really like the look of university, you've ordered that prospectus, I really recommend then taking the next step and going to an open day. So people say, how do you make the most of them? What do you do at them? So I'd say make the most of them by speaking to as many members of staff, as many students as you can, and asking as many questions as you can think of, because it's the perfect time to do that. I'd recommend looking at the accommodation, so you see where you're living, go to the course talks, so you can meet some of the lecturers, and also leave that university and go and look at the town or the city. And then just be asking yourself, can I imagine spending the next 3 or 4 years of my life living here? Something else that you might want to do is take a look at facilities as well. So if you're really into the gym, you want to go to the gym every day, that's something that you want to carry on doing at university, look at the gym. Is it going to be suitable for what you need? Is it big enough? Has it got modern facilities and that kind of thing? So just taking a look at the facilities that are available as well. And if you don't know where they are, just ask somebody and they'll be happy to show you where they are. So I nearly based my decision of university solely from looking at a prospectus. I thought, this is an amazing course. It must be an amazing university. It's doing all the modules I want. I've got the right grades to get onto it. So I was like, yeah, easy peasy, I'm going to that university. It was actually my mum who was like, are you sure you don't want to have a look? I was like, no, it'll be fine. But she literally made me go to have a look at university. And I remember getting out of the car and then I looked at this really old grey building. I was like, I didn't see that in the prospectus. And then I walked around and I realised it was really far from the town centre. I didn't like the accommodation and it completely changed my mind. So I did a complete U-turn on which university I wanted to go to. So I'm so glad that I went to that open day. So I can't recommend going to them enough. Obviously, at the moment, a lot of open days are happening virtually, and obviously it's not the same as being there in person, but don't let that put you off. Still attend them, because you can go on virtual tours, you can explore the campus, you can look at those facilities again as well, and you're still able to chat to staff members and students as well. Excuse me. And what I would say is you can go to even more open days, because you're not paying to get there on transport, and it's not taking you time to get there either. You just do it from your own home. So you could actually visit a few more open days than maybe you would do sort of pre-COVID times. I'd also suggest, if you go to an open day, a virtual one, and you like it, maybe when sort of lockdown restrictions end a little bit, you might want to just visit that town or that city, just to again see if it's somewhere you'd like to spend the next 3 or 4 years of your life. So I often get asked as well, how do I know what questions to ask? So when I'm at an open day, what should I ask? Or when I'm speaking to sort of staff, if you speak to them online, what should I ask them? How do I know what to find out? And again, I can't tell you exactly what you should ask, because this is going to be unique to you. But one thing I do want to say is there is no such thing as a stupid question. Okay, so I often get people saying, oh, this is a really stupid question, but there is no such thing as a stupid question. My job is literally paid by the university to help you and to answer questions for you. So never think that you can't ask a question because it will be stupid, or you're not sure if it's the right thing to ask. Just ask away, because people like me are here for you. We're here to support you. So as I said, it is quite personal as to what questions you should ask. However, if I could recommend maybe a few generic things that I think everybody should probably ask and find out, I'd say speak to students. And I would ask them what they like about the university, but also ask them what they don't like about the university, because that could be something that maybe you might find that, oh, actually, I might not like that about the university. So ask them what they like, but ask them what they don't like as well. I'd also find out from tutors or from students as well, how the course is taught and how it's examined. So if you're someone like me who absolutely falls apart in exams, you don't want to be looking for a course that's 100% exam based, because it means that you're not going to do so well in it. So just find out the teaching methods and the assessment methods as well, because that could be an important factor in finding the right university for you. And finally, ask either staff or the lecturers about the modules on a course. So one English course at one university could be completely different to an English course at another university. So let's say, for example, you're really into American literature. That's really your thing. That's what you enjoy doing. You're going to do an English course, but then if you've not checked the modules, you sign up to that university, the first day you go there, you see all the modules and you realise, oh, this is all focused on European literature. It's not something I'm really interested in. So think about, just find out what modules are there and find out if they're modules that you're passionate about and that you're excited about and that are right for you. Another way that you can be asking questions is using something called UniBuddy. So loads of universities have this. Just I'd say go onto Google, type the university that you're looking at, and then Unibuddy. And what it is, it's like a live chat where you can speak to lecturers, staff like me, students, and again, you can ask them specific questions about that university and about that course. And it's all done online. You don't have to see anybody or speak to anybody on the phone. It's all just done virtually. So it's a really good chance for you to ask any specific questions that you've got about that university. And then finally, how do you create a shortlist of universities? So you've been to lots of open days, you've done lots of research online, you've ordered some prospectuses, but how do you actually narrow it down to a shortlist? So when you're applying to UCAS, you get to make 5 decisions on how many universities or all courses that you want to apply for. So you do need to make a shortlist and narrow it down to 5 different courses or universities. So what we would suggest doing is create a table. Put your predicted grades at the top, because predicted grades are really important. You need to find courses that are looking for people looking for your predicted grades. So always keep that in mind when you're looking at courses. And then I think of about 5, 6 or 7 things that are really important to you, things that you won't budge on, that a university has to have, because that's what is really important to you. So it could be things like societies, for example. If you're in a choir and you want to continue doing that at university, you want to make sure that that university has a really good choir, that is something that you can be doing every week. So think about the really important things to you. So again, no right or wrong answers, it's all about you. Think about these key features, and as you're looking through universities, reading prospectuses, going to open days, you can tick it off and see how many of your criteria that university fits. And then that'll help to slowly start sort of siphoning out certain universities, or making some universities seem more appealing to you than others. So in terms of next steps, things that I'd say take away and start thinking about doing, list those features of the university that are important to you. So again, personal to you, it could be location. Something you might want to think about is financial situation. So if you want to study in London, are you going to be able to afford that potential additional cost of university in London? Talk to friends, family, teachers, speak to everybody and ask them questions. Ask them what their thoughts are and ask them about what their experiences are as well. Definitely use an online account. Start doing your research and saving all your searches. Get ordering prospectuses, order as many as you like, they're all free. Find out the dates of any virtual open days. You do have to book onto those, so don't just think that you can turn up on the day if you've wrote the date down. You do need to register for them. So do a bit of research into when the open days are and sign up to them. And then do ask, like I said, me, students, lecturers, any questions that you've got, just to make sure you're making that right choice for you. So that is everything from me. I hope you found that useful. So I can pass it back over and see if we've got any questions.
Thank you so much, Victoria. That was so helpful and useful. I think that will be really great for a lot of students who are watching today. So thank you so much. So yeah, as I said, we're going to get straight into the Q&A section now. So a few of you have already been putting your questions into the thread before we got started, which is fab. So I'll start off with one of those. So we've had a question from Charles16, who said, if a uni has a lower required entry grades, does that make it a worse university? So for example, the University of Liverpool might be looking for ABB and Liverpool Hope might be looking for BBC. What does that mean?
It's just sort of their entry points that they've put out. So it doesn't necessarily mean the course is any better or any worse. It could be that university just wants to put a higher entry requirement in there to sort of see what different applicants it can get. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a better or worse course. The only way that you can sort of see that is by looking at it for yourself. So looking at the modules that it offers and looking at sort of maybe where it ranks on course tables as well. So for example, when you're looking at league tables, a university might be really high up on a league table, but let's go back to that English course. They might not actually be that good at English. It could be lower down on the league table, or it could be the complete opposite. So you could be looking at a university, sorry, that maybe doesn't sit quite so high on league tables, but actually it's really good at English. So maybe that's why they're asking for lower entry requirements. So yeah, just take a look at league tables, take a look at the modules, and just sort of see if it's the right course for you.
Yeah, I think that kind of information about modules is so important, and sometimes we can look at courses and not necessarily do that deep dive into modules. So I think that's really important. Thank you so much. So on to the next question. Sarah F1806 has asked, I'm really interested in several different universities, but some of them are above my predicted grades, which are BBB. So so they're looking at things like ABB. Should I apply for them anyway? What do you think?
So I'd say, obviously, yeah, think about your predicted grades and think, is it possible maybe you will do a little bit better than your predicted grades? So you do get 5 choices, and you get a firm choice and you get an insurance choice. So I'd say you might always want to aim a little bit higher and have sort of an aspirational university that's one you're aiming for. So if you could put that as your firm choice, and you could put your insurance choice with grades that are more sort of in line with your predicted grades, or a little bit safer just in case you don't make those that firm choice grade. So I'd always say go for it if you think you can do it, and if it's a university that you really want to attend, then you might as well go for it and put it on there and see what happens. Just do your best.
Yeah, I think an aspirational choice is a great option for your university application. You know, see what happens. You absolutely never know. So definitely some great advice. We've just had a live question come through saying, can you only get one career path out of a specialized degree? So for example, like only becoming a doctor from a medicine degree. What do you think?
Absolutely not. I think obviously it's training you, it's specifically giving you the skills and the knowledge you need for that, but it's giving you loads of different transferable skills as well. So if you think about all the people that work in a hospital, there are so many different jobs within sort of healthcare, within biological sciences, biomedical sciences. There are so many jobs out there. Just because you're trained in that specific area doesn't mean that it won't open other doors for you. So you might go into university with one career in mind, really focused, but actually you might learn during that course, actually maybe that's not the thing I want to do, but you're still going to have loads of specialized knowledge that's going to allow you to apply for different jobs.
Perfect, thank you so much. So we've had a question from somebody called Hello There 08 saying, I'm torn between 2 universities for my master's. One of them is slightly bigger than the other, so that is as in more students, and the other one has the course that they're really looking for. So is there any advice that you could give them? Should they go for a bigger university or the course that they've had their eye on the most?
Oh, that's tricky. That sort of depends on who you are as a person. So I'd say if you have your heart set on that course, you seem like you really like it, then why are you sort of thinking about the other one with more students? I'd say, is that course you're looking at, is it a smaller university? So I'd say maybe location seems quite important to you there. So I'd go and visit them both. Maybe not even on an open day, you could just go and visit the sort of town or the city on any day and just sort of walk around and see what it's actually like on a normal university day. That's quite difficult. I think that's quite personal to you, whether you sort of, if you really need a big busy university, then maybe you would be happier there. Maybe just asking yourself that, do you need it to be a really busy university, or would you be happy on a course that you really love but potentially a smaller community of students?
Perfect, thank you so much. So now looking at somebody in year 12, Nat707B has said that they've just picked the 3 sciences and psychology as their A-level choices. And they're a little bit worried that they've kind of put all their eggs in one basket and they're limiting themselves. And so they're wondering, will they have to do something sciencey or psychology related? Or is it that most courses at university don't have specific subject requirements and their options are still wide open?
A bit of both, actually. So I'd say majority of courses don't ask you to have any previous course knowledge. It's actually the sciences that generally want you to have course knowledge. So if you want to do biology as a degree, they will ask you to have biology as an A level. So I don't think you've narrowed your choices down at all. I think if you want to go into the sciences, you're perfectly set to do that because you've got science A levels as a background. But there's absolutely, so I said I did drama and film, you could still go on to do that. So my course didn't say that you had to have any specific subject knowledge or grades beforehand. So yeah, you can definitely branch out into anything you want. It's just you're going to be more, it's probably going to be easier for you to apply for those science courses because of that science background. But definitely you've not narrowed your options down.
Perfect. I think it's all about looking into that kind of fine print in the university prospectus, in the course modules and things like that. Just double checking those entry requirements before you put anything down on an application form, just to triple check that there isn't anything really subject specific in there. Perfect. Okay, so now we're looking at another question from Yasser45 saying, I'm really struggling to choose between two universities that they like as their firm and insurance choice. They're really scared of making the wrong choice. How can they be more confident in their decision if they like them both equally?
Oh, that's a tricky one. So if you like them both equally, you're going to have to, I'd probably maybe make that table like I said. So put down the criteria that you definitely have to have and double check that they both have that criteria. Try and get, if you can, go to an open day as well. That might sway your decision. So by speaking to staff members, student members, and again asking students what don't they like about the university, I think that's a really important question to ask. But it's just going to be about you sort of doing a bit more in-depth research into those universities, I think. But I don't think, if you like them both and if you'd be happy with them both, I don't think you can really make a wrong choice there. You seem pretty happy on both of them. So I'd say do a bit more research, try and go to an open day, and then just follow your gut, really, see what your gut's saying.
Yeah, I think gut choice is something that we kind of underestimate sometimes. We can do so much research, but sometimes when your gut is telling you one thing is kind of what you're searching for, and that's definitely something you should take into account. So yeah, I think that's some great advice. Looking now at another question from Hey, it's Liz. They're asking, if they get an offer from their first choice university, do they have to accept it, or can they choose another one of their choices instead? So I'm assuming that they haven't made their kind of firm or insurance choice yet, but they have an idea of what their kind of first choice university would be.
So I lost you a little bit at the start of that question. Could you say the start?
Sorry, of course, yeah. So if I get an offer from my first choice university, do I have to accept it, or can I choose one of my other choices instead? So I'm assuming here that they haven't picked a firm or insurance just yet.
Yeah, so at this stage you've not committed to anything, so you don't have to if just because it was the first choice in your head before you sort of sent it off, you don't have to commit. So we always recommend to wait until you get a reply back from all the universities that you've applied to make an informed decision, so you know exactly what you want to do. And there's no need to rush on a decision either. So you've got, as long as you reply by the deadline, you'll still have an offer at that university. So no, you definitely don't have to reply to it. Wait until you've got all your choices back, I would say.
Perfect, thank you. And so we've got time for one more question. So I'm absolutely going to butcher your username, so I apologize in advance. 14 Teray has asked, hi, can I get into a physician's associate degree straight after doing a children's nursing degree? So this is a little bit specific, but maybe you can support in kind of more general advice on if you're looking at a master's after your degree and it's kind of a specific course structure like healthcare.
Yeah, so I'm not 100%. We don't do a lot of healthcare, and I'm not sure about postgraduates. So I'll just sort of give you my advice. So you can go straight into a postgraduate from an undergraduate degree. That's absolutely fine to do. What again you would need to check is that you've got the background knowledge, and that the undergraduate degree that you're doing gives you that knowledge, so that you're able to apply to that postgraduate degree. But as I say, I'm not an expert on postgrad stuff, so you might want to use Unibuddy for that if you want, and sort of ask that university that you're interested in if the degree you're doing will allow you to do that postgraduate after.
Yeah, I think that's some really good advice actually, is like going straight to that university and asking that question outright. Normally you'll get an answer back pretty quickly as to whether that's possible or not. University inquiries teams are fab at kind of getting back to you and giving you like really specific information if you're struggling to find it on their website. So yeah, perfect just to get in contact if you're having any issues or difficulties. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Victoria. I really appreciate it. We're just at the end of the Q&A now. So I just wanted to remind everybody watching that we are running a series of live video application surgeries, and this is only our second one, so we've got 2 more coming. So next week, next Thursday, live at 5 p.m. again, we'll be looking at how you can fill out your UCAS application, and we are joined by UCAS themselves, which is fantastic. So they'll be walking you through exactly how to fill out the UCAS application, what to do if you're unsure about any of those little niggly questions, and what you need to be doing around this time to make sure that you're getting that in and getting that application sorted. So do join us again next week. The thread to ask any questions for that application surgery will be going live tomorrow, so do keep an eye out for that. And you can also watch this application surgery back at any time. It's available on YouTube, and it will also be available on the thread to watch back whenever you like. So that's it from me and Victoria now. Thank you so much, Victoria, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And have a lovely day, everybody, and see you next week. Bye.